You feel too much. You care too deeply. And every emotion they pull from you is a weapon used against you. The world doesn't reward those who feel, it rewards those who endure. The moment you stop reacting, you start controlling. The moment you detach, you become unstoppable. This is not a book about comfort, it's a blueprint for total emotional mastery. You will learn to silence weakness, to control your impulses, and to remain cold, focused, and disciplined no matter the storm. This is how you build an unbreakable mind. You feel too much. That's your problem. Every reaction, every emotional spike, every outburst costs you clarity. And clarity is everything. You can't make strong decisions through fog. You can't lead through noise. You can't see truth through emotion. When you times feel too much asterisk, you distort reality. You don't see what times is asterisk. You see what you times want asterisk. You project. You assume. You build stories in your head. And those stories make you weak. Because emotion is bias. Emotion blinds you. That's why this chapter begins with one command. Asterisk, asterisk, feel nothing, see everything. Asterisk, asterisk. When you stop reacting, you start observing. When you stop feeling, you start thinking. When you stop chasing the emotional high, you start seeing the world as it truly is, cold, unfiltered, raw. You might not like what you see, but it will be time's real asterisk. Detachment is not the absence of life. It's the mastery of perception. It's the art of standing still while everyone else drowns in noise. You have a choice. You can live as a slave to what you feel or as a master of what you see. That's the key. Think about the soldier under fire. Bullets fly. Smoke fills the air. The weak soldier times feels times fear, panic, emotion. He hesitates, and in hesitation, he dies. The strong soldier times sees asterisk. He doesn't feel the fear. He sees the angles, the threats, the cover, the next move. He acts, not reacts. He survives. That's life. That's leadership. That's mastery. Everyday life is the battlefield, and most people die from emotional hesitation. They panic when criticized. They freeze when rejected. They chase validation when they should chase control. You can't build strength in that state. You can't build peace when every opinion moves you. Detach, observe, control. Repeat it until it's burned into your mind. Emotional control doesn't mean becoming cold or lifeless. It means becoming times free. Asterisk. When you detach, you stop giving your power away. No one can manipulate you. No one can bait you into losing focus. No one can make you feel inferior because you're not playing that game anymore. Most people are puppets, and their emotions are the strings. They get offended and they react. They feel ignored and they chase. They feel fear and they run. The world pulls the strings, but you cut them. You stay still. You stay clear. You stay in control. That's emotional freedom. That's real strength. Here's what you must understand. You can't times think times clearly while you're times feeling times intensely. The brain can't hold both at full power. Emotion hijacks logic. Logic silences emotion. You must choose one. And in moments of pressure, the choice decides your future. In business, in conflict, in relationships, clarity wins. Emotion loses every time. That's why calm people rise. That's why cold minds build empires. That's why the loudest emotions often lead to the weakest lives. When you're angry, pause. When you're anxious, observe. When you're sad, detach. Ask yourself, what is actually happening right now? That's how you strip away illusion. That's how you times see. Asterisk. Because truth doesn't scream, it whispers, and you'll only hear it when the noise inside you is gone. So, start training that silence. Train yourself to breathe before you speak, to pause before you react, to analyze before you decide. That's how you turn emotion into insight. You don't need to kill your emotions, you need to command them. Emotion, under control, becomes a weapon. Emotion, uncontrolled, becomes chaos. When you feel anger, channel it into focus. When you feel pain, channel it into purpose. When you feel fear, channel it into preparation. It's not about feeling nothing, it's about times letting nothing control you. Asterisk. Remember this. The world feeds on emotional people. Marketers sell to emotion. Manipulators prey on emotion. Weak leaders control through emotion. The person who feels least wins most. You can be compassionate without being reactive. You can be kind without being naive. You can love deeply and still stay in control. Detachment doesn't make you cold, it makes you precise. You've been told that feeling deeply is strength. It's not. It's indulgence. Strength is not crying on command. Strength is holding your ground when your world shakes. Strength is clarity under pressure. Strength is calm in the chaos. Anyone can feel, few can times see. Asterisk. You have to rise above the drama, the noise, the emotional roller coaster that everyone else rides. Because when you rise above it, you start seeing patterns, you start seeing motives, you start seeing truth. And truth is the ultimate weapon. So here's what you do starting now. When someone tries to provoke you, pause. When a situation tries to frustrate you, breathe. When you feel the urge to react, observe instead. Turn emotion into data. Turn impulse into insight. Turn chaos into control. You'll be shocked how fast your perspective shifts. What once hurt you becomes useful. What once distracted you becomes invisible. What once controlled you loses all power. That's mastery. You have to train your mind like a muscle. Every moment of restraint builds strength. Every pause sharpens vision. Every detached decision separates you from the weak. You won't master this overnight. But every moment you times don't react, times you win. Every emotion you times don't obey, times you grow. Every time you times feel nothing and see everything, times you evolve. This is the discipline of perception. This is the foundation of an unbreakable mind. You have a choice. Continue living as a puppet to emotion, or rise as a master of clarity. Detach, observe, control. Say it again. Detach, observe, control. This is not just a mantra, it's the formula. And it's yours now. Because when you master detachment, you unlock vision. When you master vision, you unlock strategy. When you master strategy, you unlock power. That's the hierarchy of control. That's how the few rule the many. You've learned the first law of an unbreakable mind. Asterisk, feel nothing, see everything. Asterisk. This is where your clarity begins. This is where your emotions end. Because the clearer you see, the more control you have. And the more control you have, the freer you become. You mastered your perception. You silenced your emotions. Now, it's time to go deeper. Your feelings are liars. They whisper weakness in your ear. They scream urgency when nothing is urgent. They convince you to quit, to doubt, to shrink. But feelings are not facts. They're chemical storms, temporary, irrational, impulsive. They rise, they fall, and they vanish. Yet most people live their entire lives obeying them. They say, asterisk, I feel tired. Asterisk, so they stop. They say, asterisk, I feel afraid. Asterisk, so they hide. They say, asterisk, I don't feel ready. Asterisk, so they never begin. That's how mediocrity survives through emotion. That's how dreams die through hesitation. Because the mind that believes its feelings becomes a slave to them. You have a choice. You can be ruled by emotion, or you can rule over it. That's the key. Here's the truth. Your feelings are temporary impulses, not truths. You feel discouraged today, confident tomorrow. You feel motivated in the morning, lazy by night. You feel unstoppable on Monday, hopeless on Friday. If you built your life around that volatility, you'd live like a leaf in the wind. No stability, no direction, no control. You can't lead your life through emotion. You must lead it through principle. You don't build greatness on what you feel. You build greatness on what you do consistently, deliberately, regardless of emotion. That's the foundation of discipline. That's the discipline of truth. Your feelings are not your identity. Your focus is. You are not what you feel in the moment. You are what you choose to pursue despite how you feel. That's why emotional control separates leaders from followers. Winners feel the same fear, the same frustration, the same pain. They just don't listen to it. They move anyway. They act anyway. They finish anyway. Because they understand, the body lies, the mind lies, the emotion lies. But purpose tells the truth. You have to decide which voice you'll believe. Most people think emotional pain means something is wrong. They think discomfort is danger. But that's a lie. Discomfort is growth in disguise. Pain is the proof that something inside you is evolving. Your mind will panic, but your potential will expand. When you push your limits, your feelings scream for comfort. But comfort kills clarity. Comfort kills confidence. Comfort kills everything that could make you great. So the next time you feel discomfort, don't run from it. Follow it. Because discomfort is a compass. It points toward growth. Let's be clear. Your feelings will never align with your highest standards. Your emotions will never volunteer for greatness. They will always choose comfort, approval, and safety. So if you wait to feel ready, you'll never start. If you wait to feel confident, you'll never speak. If you wait to feel motivated, you'll never move. You have to act first and let your feelings catch up later. That's how discipline works. You move times through time's emotion, not times with time's emotion. You execute even when your mind resists. That's the secret the weak never learn. Think about it like this. A pilot doesn't trust how the sky looks. He trusts his instruments. When he flies through fog, he doesn't follow emotion. He follows data. Your mind must work the same way. Your feelings may say, I'm lost. But your focus must say, stay the course. That's how you outlast chaos. That's how you separate truth from impulse. Because when emotion rises, logic must lead. You are not your feelings. You are your focus. That's the mantra. Repeat it until it becomes your armor. Every time you feel anxious, remind yourself, I am not this feeling, Every time you feel doubt, say, I am not my thoughts, I am my actions. Every time you feel weak, remember, strength is what I do, not what I feel, That's how you reclaim control. You don't need to eliminate emotion, you need to reframe it. You need to understand it, see it, but never bow to it. Emotion is information, not instruction. You observe it, you process it, but you don't obey it. That's maturity, that's control, that's evolution. You must train yourself to recognize emotional distortion. When you feel fear, ask, is this real or is this resistance? When you feel anger, ask, is this injustice or is this insecurity? When you feel doubt, ask, is this danger or is this discomfort? That's the audit of mastery. You question everything your emotions tell you because most of it is fiction. Your feelings aren't the truth. They're just a reaction to your expectations. And when you detach from them, the truth reveals itself. Here's the behavioral shift you must make. When you feel something, don't respond immediately. Pause. Observe. Name it. I feel frustrated. I feel afraid. I feel small. Now look at that statement. You are times, not times frustration. You are times, not times fear. You are times, not times small. You are simply times, feeling times it. And that means you have the power to change it. Because awareness breaks emotional control. Once you name it, it loses power. That's the beginning of self-command. When you stop trusting feelings, you start trusting discipline. When you stop chasing comfort, you start chasing control. When you stop needing motivation, you start building momentum. That's transformation. It's not about feeling better, it's about getting better. It's not about feeling confident, it's about becoming consistent. It's not about avoiding emotion, it's about commanding it. You have a choice. You can obey your emotions, or you can own them. That's the key. Let this truth anchor in your mind. Every feeling is a test. Every emotion is a doorway. Weak people step back from emotion. Strong people walk through it. You will never rise above the world if you cannot rise above yourself. And that starts with this law. Asterisk, asterisk. Your feelings are lies. Asterisk, asterisk. Your emotions will tell you you're not ready, move anyway. They'll tell you you're too tired, act anyway. They'll tell you it's not working, persist anyway. Because every time you choose focus over feeling, you reclaim your power. You rewrite the script. You reprogram your mind. You become untouchable. So now you understand. Emotional pain doesn't mean you're breaking, it means you're growing. Discomfort isn't a curse, it's a compass. Feelings aren't truth, they're noise. You are not your feelings. You are your focus. That's the law of clarity. That's how you become mentally bulletproof. You've learned to question your emotions. Now, it's time to learn where your power times begins. Power begins where control begins. Everything else is distraction. Most people live in a storm they create themselves. A storm of overthinking, of reacting, of trying to control what was never theirs to begin with. They stress about other people. They obsess over outcomes they can't influence. They argue with circumstances instead of adapting to them. And that's why they suffer. That's why they feel powerless. You have a choice. Spend your life trying to control the uncontrollable, or master what's already within your grasp. That's the key. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. They said, some things are up to us and some things are not. Nobby reveri, unreserve, take freeze. That's the foundation of emotional control. That's the blueprint for peace. You can't control the weather. You can't control the economy. You can't control how others treat you. But you can control your effort. You can control your attitude. You can control your response. And in those small domains lies unlimited power. That's what separates warriors from worriers. Warriors focus on what they can do next. Worriers focus on what they can't change. You have to choose which side you're on. Think about the best performers in the world. Athletes, soldiers, CEOs, they all operate under pressure. They face chaos daily. But what makes them calm? What makes them effective? They narrow their focus. When a fighter steps into the ring, he doesn't control the crowd, the lights, or the outcome. He controls his breathing, his stance, his reaction. When a CEO leads through crisis, she doesn't control the economy or her competitors. She controls her decisions, her team, her preparation. That's why they win, because the person who focuses on the controllable becomes untouchable, and the person who wastes energy on everything else burns out. The truth is this: your attention is your power. Where you place it determines your strength or your suffering. If you focus on what you can't control, you feel fear, anger, and anxiety. If you focus on what you can control, you feel clarity, calm, and confidence. That's not philosophy, that's neuroscience. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a mental obsession. Every time you replay the past or panic about the future, your body goes into survival mode. You drain your energy on things that never change. That's why control is freedom. That's why focus is power. So repeat this until it becomes instinct. Asterisk, asterisk. Control the controllable. Release the rest. Asterisk, asterisk. Let's make it practical. You can't control whether people like you, but you can control how you show up. You can't control whether the world is fair, but you can control how you respond when it's not. You can't control results, but you can control effort. That's the formula for mental toughness. Weak people obsess over perception. Strong people commit to process. It's not about outcomes, it's about consistency. It's not about luck, it's about focus. It's not about what happens to you, it's about what you do next. That's discipline. Every time you complain, you surrender power. Every time you blame, you reject responsibility. Every time you chase control over others, you lose control over yourself. You don't need to control everything, you just need to control times you. Asterisk. That's emotional mastery. That's self-leadership. When you control yourself, you automatically influence your world. Because calm minds make better decisions, and better decisions shape better realities. It all begins inside. Let's talk about how to apply this right now. First, identify your circles. There are 3. Asterisk, asterisk, circle 1, control. Asterisk, asterisk, things fully within your power. Your habits, your work ethic, your mindset. Asterisk, asterisk, circle 2, influence. Asterisk, asterisk, things you can affect but not control. People's opinions, opportunities, outcomes. Asterisk, asterisk, circle 3, concern. Asterisk, asterisk, things outside your reach. The past, the weather, the global economy. Here's what you do. Pour 100% of your energy into circle 1. Influence circle 2 if possible. Completely release. Circle 3. That's the discipline of control. Because the more energy you give to the uncontrollable, the less you have for progress. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to fix your focus. You have to practice control like a muscle. When someone insults you, control your reaction. When life disappoints, you control your narrative. When plans collapse, control your adaptability. That's where resilience is built. That's where peace begins. It's not about being passive. It's about being precise. You can't fight every battle. You can't win every argument. So you choose. You choose your focus. You choose your fight. You choose your response. That's real power. Control is not about domination, it's about direction. When you direct your mind, your actions follow. When you direct your actions, your outcomes follow. Everything flows from what you control times right now. Asterisk. That's the present moment advantage. And most people never experience it. They're stuck in mental time travel, replaying old pain, predicting future failure. You can't live there. You can't win there. You win in the now. You win by focusing on what's right in front of you. Control your breath. Control your tone. Control your time. Control your mind. Everything else, release it. You'll notice something as you practice this. The more you let go, the lighter you feel. The less you react, the calmer you become. The calmer you become, the clearer you think. And the clearer you think, the stronger you get. This is the quiet confidence that powerful people radiate. They're not unaffected, they're unshaken. Because they've mastered this one rule. Asterisk, asterisk, control the controllable. Release the rest. Asterisk, asterisk. You have a choice every single day. You can let the world dictate your emotions, or you can dictate your response. You can chase control in chaos, or you can anchor yourself in what's real. The difference between chaos and composure is focus. The difference between weakness and power is discipline. That's the truth most people never learn because they'd rather complain than control. But not you. you're building something stronger. You're building an time's unbreakable mind. Asterisk. Remember this. You don't control outcomes, you control input. You don't control reactions, you control your preparation. You don't control the world, you control your interpretation of it. And that's enough. That's how Stoics led empires. That's how soldiers stay calm in war. That's how great thinkers stay composed in chaos. It's not about having control over everything. It's about mastering the few things that actually matter. That's peace. That's power. That's freedom. You've learned how to reclaim power by focusing on what you can control. You've learned to let go of the rest. You've learned that calm is not weakness, it's command. Now that you understand control, it's time to confront its opposite, the force that tries to pull it away from you every day. We live in an age of emotional worship, a culture that tells you to feel everything, to express everything, to share everything. They say vulnerability is strength, but it's not. It's exposure. It's surrender. It's weakness dressed as virtue. The truth is simple. Society glorifies vulnerability, but secretly respects control. They cheer for emotion in public, but they follow the ones who stay calm under pressure. They admire stillness. They obey composure. You have a choice. Be emotional and admired for a moment, or be controlled and respected for a lifetime. That's the key. Let's tell the truth no one wants to hear. The world doesn't reward how you times feel, asterisk. It rewards how you times perform, asterisk. You can cry about your limits, or you can outgrow them. You can post your struggles, or you can master them. You can demand sympathy, or you can command results. Emotion feels powerful. Control times is times powerful. When you're emotional, you give others the remote control to your mind. When you're calm, you hold it. That's the difference between weakness and strength. Look around you. Modern culture confuses exposure with courage. People announce every insecurity, every struggle, every opinion, and call it authenticity. But true authenticity is time's discipline. Asterisk. It's showing the world your composure, not your chaos. They want you emotional. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. They want you reactive. Stay patient. Stay strategic. Because every time you react, they read you. Every time you explode, they measure you. Every time you expose yourself emotionally, they know where to hit next. Control is camouflage, and in a world that feeds on outrage, silence is your shield. The weak worship emotion because it makes them feel alive. They chase intensity over progress. They mistake emotional noise for depth. But emotion is not depth. Emotion is distortion. Emotion is the fog that hides the truth. The strong see through it. The strong stay still. You don't need to feel seen. You need to stay focused. You don't need to open up. You need to level up. You don't need validation. You need vision. That's how you rise above the noise. Let's break this down. Weak people are addicted to attention. They seek it through emotional chaos, drama, outrage, pity. They crave reactions because reactions make them feel significant. But strong people don't chase attention. They command it through consistency. It's not about being seen. It's about being effective. It's not about expressing pain. It's about converting it into power. It's not about emotion. It's about execution. That's dominance. That's control. There's a reason the world tests your emotions. Because the person who controls your emotions controls times you. Marketers, politicians, influencers, they all play the same game. They make you angry. They make you afraid. They make you compare. Why? Because emotional people are predictable. Emotional people are manipulable. But calm people are dangerous. You can't guilt them. You can't pressure them. You can't rush them. Because they decide when to act. That's why emotional minimalism is power. You speak less. You react less. You reveal less. The less you give away emotionally, the harder you are to control. They want you emotional. Stay calm. Stay dangerous. Let me give you something real. The world respects control because control signals strength. Think of a leader in crisis. When everything burns, everyone looks to them. If they panic, everyone collapses. If they stay calm, everyone follows. That's not softness. That's strength. That's leadership. The calm commander is not emotionless. He's disciplined. He feels fear, but he doesn't feed it. He feels doubt, but he doesn't speak it. That's why the strong rise. You have to train yourself the same way. When emotions rise, pause. When you want to lash out, breathe. When you feel attacked, stay still. Control is not repression. Control is redirection. You can't stop emotions from existing, but you can stop them from dictating your behavior. That's the essence of emotional mastery. It's not about pretending you don't feel. It's about refusing to serve your feelings. You have a choice in every situation. React or respond. Lose control or take command. And that choice determines your strength. Stop thinking that being emotional makes you human. It makes you impulsive. Stop thinking that expressing every feeling makes you honest. It makes you inconsistent. Stop thinking that reacting makes you real. It makes you readable. You don't owe anyone your emotional transparency. You don't need their permission to be silent. You don't need their validation to stay composed. Your stillness will offend emotional people, let it. Your calmness will confuse reactive people, keep it. Your discipline will threaten chaotic people, protect it. That's how you build quiet power. Remember this, people respect what they cannot shake. If they can provoke you, they control you. If they can frustrate you, they define you. If they can make you emotional, they weaken you. So, train yourself to stay still in chaos. Train yourself to see emotion rise and do nothing. Train yourself to let the wave pass. That's the mastery of kings, warriors, and leaders. That's how you gain respect in a world that worships reaction. Because everyone is loud. Everyone is emotional. Everyone is screaming to be heard. But the one who stays silent commands the room. The weak worship emotion. The strong worship discipline. Weak people perform their pain for applause. Strong people process their pain in silence and come back sharper. Weak people want to be understood. Strong people want to be effective. That's the difference between survival and success. They want you emotional, stay calm, stay dangerous. You have to understand this. The world doesn't respect how you times feel. Times it respects how you times function. Asterisk. It rewards composure under pressure, not confession under stress. You'll be misunderstood for your calmness. They'll call you cold, detached, even arrogant. Let them. Because in the end, it's not about being liked. It's about being unshakable. And unshakable people don't worship emotion, they command it. That's the discipline of control. That's the secret of power. You've learned that emotional control is the true form of dominance. You've learned that stillness earns respect in a world of noise. You've learned that vulnerability might win sympathy, but control wins power. You mastered your emotions. Now, it's time to master the force that makes emotion irrelevant. Asterisk, asterisk, discipline. Asterisk, asterisk. Freedom doesn't come from feeling good. Freedom comes from doing what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's the truth. And most people never live free because they're enslaved by emotion. They wake up when they feel ready. They work when they feel inspired. They quit when they feel tired. They live life chained to mood, and mood is chaos. But discipline kills chaos. Routine kills hesitation. Consistency kills weakness. When your actions are disciplined, your emotions lose power. That's emotional freedom. Let's make this clear. You don't rise when you're motivated. You rise when you're disciplined. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation is emotion. Discipline is command. Anyone can feel motivated for a day. Few can stay consistent for years. That's why discipline separates dreamers from doers, talkers from achievers, and amateurs from masters. You have a choice. You can obey your feelings, or you can obey your mission. That's the key. When you let emotion rule your behavior, you live in reaction. When you let discipline rule your behavior, you live in control. Discipline is emotional freedom because it removes negotiation. You stop arguing with yourself. You stop questioning what needs to be done. You wake up and move. You commit and execute. You do what's required, not what's convenient. That's the mindset of every strong mind. You don't need to feel ready. You need to be reliable. You don't need to find inspiration. You need to follow structure. That's how emotional chaos dies, through routine, repetition, and ruthless consistency. Here's what most people never understand. Discipline is not restriction. It's liberation. When you build discipline, you don't lose freedom, you gain it. Because the undisciplined are prisoners of impulse. They can't focus. They can't finish. They can't control themselves. But the disciplined, they own their time. They own their energy. They own their mind. That's real freedom. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is having the strength to do what you times must asterisk. Discipline gives you that strength. Let's get practical. You want emotional stability? Create structure. You want confidence? Create consistency. You want peace? Create predictability. Because emotion thrives in uncertainty, but discipline thrives in design. Set a schedule and follow it. Build habits and repeat them. Decide once and commit daily. You don't need to reinvent yourself every morning. You just need to execute what you already decided. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's effective. And effectiveness is the ultimate power. You need to stop relying on how you times feel, asterisk. You won't always feel confident, but you can act decisive. You won't always feel motivated, but you can act consistent. You won't always feel strong, but you can act disciplined. That's the difference between the emotional and the exceptional. You can't control emotion, but you can control motion. And motion changes emotion. When you move first, feelings follow. When you wait for feelings, failure follows. Discipline first, emotion second. That's the law. The truth is simple. Discipline rewires the brain. Every time you act against emotion, you strengthen control. Every time you delay comfort, you build resilience. Every time you follow your plan, you reinforce power. And eventually, your emotions adapt to your discipline. You stop needing motivation because movement becomes identity. That's how transformation happens. Through repetition, through consistency, through commitment that doesn't depend on feeling. You don't get strong once. You get strong daily. You don't become focused once. You practice focus every hour. You don't master yourself in one moment. You do it every morning when you choose discipline over comfort. Let me tell you the secret of every high achiever you admire. They're not superhuman. They're simply structured. They don't trust emotion, they trust process. Athletes don't feel like training every day. Writers don't feel inspired every hour. Leaders don't feel confident in every meeting. But they show up. They execute. They follow through. That's why they rise. Because discipline is stronger than emotion. And consistency is stronger than confidence. They've learned the rule. Asterisk. Do it anyway. Asterisk. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it. You want to master yourself? Start with your morning. Don't scroll. Don't negotiate. Don't drift. Move. You want peace? Build a system that removes chaos. You want confidence? Build a record of keeping promises to yourself. That's how discipline becomes identity. When you do what you said you'd do every single time, you stop doubting yourself. That's not arrogance, that's self-respect. You don't need approval when you have proof. You don't need emotion when you have evidence. And the evidence is your actions repeated daily. But understand this. Discipline is not about punishment. It's not about perfection. It's about time's alignment. Asterisk. It's aligning your behavior with your purpose, even when emotion disagrees. Discipline doesn't suppress emotion, it transcends it. You still feel fear, doubt, fatigue, but you keep moving. Because discipline doesn't ask permission. Discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline doesn't flinch. You have a choice. You can follow emotion into weakness, or you can follow discipline into freedom. That's the key. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You will never control your life until you control your schedule. You will never control your emotions until you control your habits. You will never control your destiny until you control your discipline. Because discipline creates direction. Direction creates clarity. And clarity creates peace. That's the chain of freedom. So build your system. Protect your routine. Respect your standards. Because every repetition is a reminder. You are in control now. You'll know you've mastered discipline when emotion stops arguing with you. When your mind says, "I don't feel like it," and your body moves anyway. When you stop asking for motivation and start acting from identity, that's emotional freedom. That's mental strength. That's mastery. You have to decide who runs your life, your feelings, or your focus. Because only one can win. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It's the foundation of it. The more structured you become, the freer you feel. The more consistent you are, the calmer you become. The more you commit, the less you doubt. Discipline first. Emotion second. That's not just a phrase, it's a philosophy. You've learned that discipline kills chaos and gives birth to freedom. You've learned that emotion bends when consistency stands tall. You've learned that motivation is a myth, but momentum is real. You've mastered control over yourself. Now, it's time to master your relationship with others, not through emotion, but through indifference. You care too much, and that's why you're exhausted. You care about what they think. You care about what they say. You care about being liked, noticed, understood, validated. But here's the truth. Asterisk, asterisk. The more you care, the more you suffer. Asterisk, asterisk. Because caring about everything means controlling nothing. Power doesn't come from caring more. Power comes from asterisk, asterisk, caring selectively. Asterisk, asterisk. Indifference is not apathy. It's strategy. It's emotional intelligence in its purest form. You have a choice. You can waste energy reacting to everything or reserve energy for what matters. That's the key. Indifference is misunderstood. People think it means coldness, detachment, or arrogance. It's none of those. Indifference means control. It means you decide where your attention goes. You decide what earns your reaction. You stop being a puppet pulled by emotion, approval, and fear. You become the one who pulls the strings. That's what makes indifference so powerful. It doesn't make you careless, it makes you times calculating. Asterisk. When you stop chasing validation, you start commanding respect. When you stop reacting, you start directing. When you stop caring about everything, you start controlling something. Asterisk, asterisk. Care less, control more. Asterisk, asterisk. Look at the calm investor. While everyone else panics, he stays still. While the market burns, he waits. He's not emotionless, he's indifferent to noise. He cares about the long game, not the daily storm. That's how he wins. Look at the silent leader. People criticize, question, gossip. He doesn't respond. He doesn't defend. Because he knows the moment you explain yourself, you hand away your power. Indifference is not weakness, it's dominance through restraint. And the unreactive fighter, he's the same. He doesn't waste energy swinging at every provocation. He waits. He reads. He strikes when it matters. That's not emotion. That's control. Asterisk, asterisk. Care less. Control more. Asterisk, asterisk. Most people burn out not from hard work, but from emotional leakage. They give energy to gossip, envy, arguments, opinions. They fight battles that don't pay. They chase people who've already left. They defend themselves against noise. And then they wonder why they're tired, anxious, and stuck. It's not because they lack strength. It's because they lack indifference. Indifference is your filter. It's how you decide what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Without that filter, your energy scatters. With it, your focus sharpens. That's how powerful people move, with precision, not reaction. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to prove your point. You don't need to explain your silence. You just need to stay consistent. Because truth doesn't defend itself, it endures. You can't control what they think. You can't control what they say. But you can control what you do and how much power you give them. When you learn that, you become free. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's not times caring times about what doesn't matter. That's the difference between chaos and control. Asterisk, asterisk, care less, control more. Asterisk, asterisk. Let's talk about what indifference looks like in real life. When someone insults you, don't explain. Don't react. Don't match their emotion. Silence is your statement, because silence is control. When someone ignores you, don't chase. Attention earned through begging isn't real. Presence is earned through value, not validation. When someone doubts you, don't defend. Prove them wrong through consistency. Indifference turns pain into progress. It converts insult into insight. It transforms conflict into clarity. That's emotional jujitsu, using their force against them. You have to train your indifference like a muscle, because caring is instinct. Control is training. When you feel provoked, breathe. When you feel rejected, detach. When you feel misunderstood, let it go. The more you practice, the stronger your indifference becomes. And one day, you'll notice something. The things that once bothered you no longer even register. That's not numbness. That's mastery. That's the moment you realize you've reclaimed your energy. You'll see that peace is not found in pleasing everyone. Peace is found in times not needing to. Asterisk. You don't need their permission. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their approval. That's freedom. Most people try to control others. The wise control themselves. The weak argue for validation. The strong stay silent and let results speak. The reactive person fights every battle. The disciplined person picks them. Indifference is that discipline. It's not about being cold, it's about being clear. It's not about giving up, it's about giving nothing times to what doesn't serve you. It's not about arrogance, it's about energy management. You have a choice. Spend your day reacting or spend your day building, but you can't do both. That's the law of focus. Asterisk, asterisk. Care less. Control more. Asterisk, asterisk. Here's the real secret. Indifference intimidates the emotional. People who thrive on reaction need yours to survive. Take it away, and they lose control. They'll call you distant, cold, arrogant good. That means it's working. They're no longer manipulating your peace. The moment you stop caring what they think, they lose power over you. And the moment you stop explaining yourself, you gain authority. Silence speaks louder than argument. Composure speaks louder than reaction. Consistency speaks louder than words. Indifference is your armor in a world addicted to chaos. Let's make this actionable. Start small. Don't check your phone first thing in the morning. That's emotional dependency. Don't respond to every text instantly. That's energy leakage. Don't scroll for validation. That's self-sabotage. Instead, guard your focus. Decide what deserves your attention each day and stick to it. Because every no you say to distraction is a yes to self-control. Every ounce of energy you save is a weapon for progress. That's how you separate yourself from the emotional majority. Here's the paradox of power. The less you care, the more control you have. The more control you have, the more people care about what you do. The indifferent become the influential, not because they chase attention, but because they command it. They don't play emotional games. They don't respond to every provocation. They move quietly, deliberately, and powerfully. That's who you must become. You can't be controlled if you can't be provoked. You can't be manipulated if you can't be moved. Indifference isn't the absence of feeling. It's the presence of focus. Asterisk, asterisk. Care less, control more. Asterisk, asterisk. You've learned how indifference gives you power. You've learned that caring less isn't weakness, it's strategy. You've learned that focus, silence, and restraint build strength the loud never find. Now, it's time to talk about the other side of mastery, the one that sharpens the mind through pain. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. Every struggle you face is mental conditioning. Every hardship you endure is shaping you into something sharper, something stronger, something unbreakable. But most people run from it. They treat pain like poison when in reality, it's medicine. The truth is this: pain isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Pain is the signal of growth. Comfort is the sign of decay. You have a choice. Avoid pain and stay fragile, or embrace pain and become forged. That's the key. Look at any strong person you admire. They were built in struggle. The disciplined body was built in exhaustion. The calm mind was built in chaos. The fearless leader was built in loss. They didn't escape pain, they trained in it. Because pain is the gym for your mind. Every challenge you face is a workout for your willpower. Every setback is a repetition for your strength. Every failure is a lesson in endurance. The more you face, the more you can handle. The more you can handle, the less life can break you. That's mental conditioning. That's resilience. Asterisk, asterisk. Pain is the proof of progress. Asterisk, asterisk. Most people think strength is built by avoiding pain. But real strength is built by staying in it long enough to grow from it. You can't build resilience without resistance. You can't build discipline without discomfort. You can't build toughness without tension. Pain is not a punishment, it's the teacher you keep trying to ignore. Every time you resist it, you delay your growth. Every time you face it, you level up. That's how the mind evolves. You don't get stronger because life gets easier. You get stronger because you stop running from hard things. Pain reveals your weaknesses. It exposes your limits. And that's why it's powerful. You can't fix what you won't face. When you're in pain, the truth comes out. The excuses come out. The fear comes out. And that's good, because once it's visible, it's beatable. You can't conquer the world until you conquer what breaks you inside. You can't lead others until you've learned to lead yourself through suffering. That's the price of mastery, and pain is the currency. Understand this: pain is neutral. It's not good or bad. It's feedback. It's your body and mind saying, asterisk, this is where you grow. You lift weights, your muscles tear, they rebuild stronger. You face rejection, your ego hurts, it becomes humble. You endure loss, your heart breaks, it becomes deeper. The process is always the same: destruction, adaptation, growth. But most people quit in the middle. They feel pain and call it the end when it's only the beginning. That's the tragedy. They stop right before transformation. You have to see pain differently. You have to times it. The weak suffer emotionally and stay stuck. The strong suffer strategically and evolve. The weak ask, "Why me?" The strong ask, "What can this teach me?" That's the difference between victims and victors. When something breaks you, don't waste it. Analyze it, learn from it, grow through it. Pain without reflection is wasted. Pain with purpose is transformation. That's the work most people avoid. They want healing without effort. They want strength without struggle. They want progress without pain. It doesn't exist. Asterisk, asterisk. Pain is the proof of progress. Asterisk, asterisk. Let's make it real. When you feel emotional pain, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, asterisk, what is this teaching me? Asterisk. When you're uncomfortable, don't escape. Stay, breathe, let your mind adjust. When life gets heavy, don't complain. Train. Every challenge you survive expands your capacity. Every pain you overcome becomes armor for the next one. Soon, things that used to crush you will barely move you. That's how resilience feels: quiet, calm, unstoppable. Pain builds confidence, not fake confidence, real, earned confidence. Because once you've been through enough, nothing scares you anymore. You stop fearing loss because you've rebuilt before. You stop fearing struggle because you've thrived in it. You stop fearing judgment because you've faced worse inside yourself. That's real power, the kind that can't be taken away. You can't buy it. You can't fake it. You can only earn it through pain. Here's the truth. You can't avoid pain in life. You can only choose your pain. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of growth or the pain of stagnation. The pain of endurance or the pain of failure. But either way, you will pay. So you might as well invest in the pain that builds you. That's the mindset of the unbreakable. They don't ask for easy days. They ask for strength to endure hard ones. They don't pray for comfort. They pray for resilience. They understand comfort weakens, pain refines. So here's what you do. Next time life tests you, don't flinch. Next time you feel pain, don't retreat. Next time you struggle, don't complain. Lean in, observe, adapt. Remind yourself, asterisk, this is my training ground. Asterisk. When you shift that mindset, pain stops being punishment. It becomes progress. You don't suffer for nothing, you suffer times for something. Asterisk. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. That's the alchemy of toughness. Pain is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. You can't cross it without walking through fire. But once you do, you emerge unstoppable. That's how steel is made. That's how strength is born. That's how legends are built. And when you understand that, you stop fearing pain, you start chasing it. Because pain becomes proof. Proof that you're still in the fight. Proof that you're still growing. Proof that you're still alive. Asterisk, asterisk. Pain is the proof of progress. Asterisk, asterisk. You have a choice every day. Hide from pain and stay soft. Or face pain and become forged. The weak run from discomfort. The strong walk toward it. You don't need anyone's permission to struggle. You don't need anyone's approval to endure. You just need the courage to keep going when it hurts. That's the moment where character is carved. So stop resenting pain. Start respecting it. Because it's not breaking you, it's building you. You've learned how to use pain as fuel. You've learned that suffering is not punishment, it's progress. You've learned that endurance isn't about surviving, it's about evolving. Now, it's time to confront the greatest obstacle to that evolution, the one that steals your focus and weakens your mind every single day. Distraction is the silent killer of greatness. It doesn't destroy you with a crash, it erodes you with noise. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't confront you, it seduces you. And before you realize it, your focus is gone. Your time is gone, your potential wasted. Distraction is emotional noise. Focus is emotional silence. You can't build strength in noise. You can't build peace in chaos. You can't build mastery while your mind is pulled in 1,000 directions. You have a choice. Feed distraction and stay average, or kill it and become dangerous. That's the key. We live in an age where distraction isn't an accident. It's a business model. Every app, every platform, every notification is designed to steal your focus, to keep you reactive, emotional, and weak. Your attention is the new currency, and they want it. They want it more than anything else, because where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your life follows. If they can distract you, they can control you. And if you can control your focus, you can control everything. Asterisk, asterisk. Protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Asterisk, asterisk. Distraction is not just external, it's internal. It's not only the noise around you, it's the noise inside you. Every time you check your phone without thinking, that's distraction. Every time you compare your life to someone else's, that's distraction. Every time you overthink instead of act, that's distraction. Distraction is the voice that says, asterisk, I'll do it later. Asterisk. It's the urge that says, asterisk, just one more scroll. Asterisk. It's the comfort that says, asterisk, you've done enough. Asterisk. It disguises itself as rest, but it's really resistance. You have to see it for what it is, the enemy of control. You can't win a war you don't recognize. And the war for your focus is the war for your future. Here's the truth. The most successful people in the world aren't the smartest. They're the most focused. They're ruthless about what gets their attention. They cut the noise. They protect their environment. They value silence like gold, because they know focus is rare. And rarity is power. They don't give their time to gossip. They don't give their mind to comparison. They don't give their peace to opinions. They give their energy to one thing, their mission. That's why they win. It's not about talent. It's about direction. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's not about doing more. It's about doing times less times better. Let's get practical. Start cutting distractions from your life like a surgeon removing poison. Phones, notifications, gossip, drama. They don't need your attention, they steal it. Every notification is a hook. Every argument is a trap. Every comparison is a drain. Cut them out. Be ruthless. Delete what doesn't serve your focus. Say no to what doesn't feed your mission. Detach from what doesn't build your peace. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to respond to everyone. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to focus on what matters and protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Focus is your superpower. Distraction is your kryptonite. When you're focused, you move faster. When you're focused, you feel lighter. When you're focused, you make progress real, measurable progress. But when you're distracted, you lose control. You fragment your energy. You scatter your potential. You become busy but never productive. Connected but never fulfilled. Aware but never advancing. That's not living. That's drifting. And drifting is death for the mind that wants power. Here's what no one tells you. Distraction isn't just stealing your time, it's dulling your instincts. The more distracted you become, the less you hear your inner voice. The less you listen to your intuition. The less you trust your own mind. Silence is where power regenerates. Stillness is where vision returns. You can't see clearly in constant noise. You can't think deeply in constant motion. You can't evolve when you never disconnect. That's why you must carve out silence every day. 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you can. No phone, no noise, no input, just thought, reflection, Stillness. That's how you reset your focus. That's how you build inner power. Asterisk, asterisk. Protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Asterisk, asterisk. You have to treat distraction like an addiction, because it is one. Every time you seek stimulation, you weaken your discipline. Every time you chase noise, you lose control. The brain rewards distraction with dopamine, but dopamine without discipline leads to dependence. Dependence leads to weakness. That's why scrolling feels easy and focus feels hard. That's why noise feels comfortable and silence feels uncomfortable, because silence forces you to face yourself. And most people would rather drown in noise than face their own reflection. But not you. You're building an unbreakable mind, and an unbreakable mind lives in stillness. Distraction is the reason people fail without ever realizing it. It doesn't destroy their life in one moment, it steals it in fragments. One scroll here, one argument there, one wasted day, multiplied by years. That's how potential dies, not in chaos, but in comfort. You can't afford that anymore. You have too much power inside you to waste it on noise. You have to become obsessive about clarity. You have to treat your focus like sacred ground. Every day, ask yourself, what deserves my attention today? And then guard that answer with your life. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right times things. It's not about being everywhere. It's about being fully times where you are. That's what focus gives you: presence. And presence is power. When you're focused, you command every moment. When you're distracted, every moment commands you. You have to choose. And make no mistake, distraction is a choice. Every time you indulge it, you strengthen it. Every time you ignore it, you weaken it. That's the discipline that separates winners from wanderers. Protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Because your focus times is your life. Where your focus goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your future grows. So stop letting the world drain you. Stop letting the noise own you. Stop giving your time to things that give nothing back. You don't need their permission to disconnect. You don't need their validation to go silent. You just need discipline, and silence will reward you with clarity. You've learned how distraction is the enemy of strength. You've learned that silence is not emptiness, it's focus. You've learned that peace is not the absence of activity, it's the mastery of attention. You've taken back control of your mind. Now, it's time to take back control of your world through silence itself. The louder the world becomes, the more valuable silence is. Noise is the default state of the weak. Silence is the discipline of the strong. The loud speak to be seen. The silent move to be felt. The weak perform. The strong prepare. You live in a world addicted to volume, constant opinion, endless distraction, and meaningless validation. But strength doesn't shout. Power doesn't announce itself. True control exists in quiet. Because quiet is not emptiness, it's focus. Stillness is not weakness, it's warfare. That's the key. When you are quiet, you see everything. When you are silent, you hear everything. When you are still, you control everything. Silence is the weapon of those who lead without showing their hand. Stillness is the battlefield, where emotion dies and vision lives. Most people don't understand this because they fear silence. Silence makes them confront themselves. It exposes the noise inside. They fill the space with chatter, screens, opinions, and excuses, all to avoid hearing the truth echoing in their own mind. But the strong seek silence. Because silence is clarity. Silence is power. The greatest warriors, leaders, and thinkers share one trait: calm under pressure. Not because they feel nothing, but because they've mastered silence within chaos. The calm investor waits while others panic. The silent leader listens while others argue. The composed fighter watches while his opponent wastes energy. That's not passivity, that's precision. Silence is not the absence of movement, it's the control of it. It's knowing when to strike, when to wait, and when to walk away. You have a choice. You can speak to prove something, or stay silent to control everything. Here's the truth. Noise is weakness disguised as confidence. People who constantly talk are often trying to convince themselves. They fill silence with noise because silence exposes insecurity. But silence requires self-belief. It means you're comfortable with not being understood. It means you're patient enough to let results speak. It means you're disciplined enough to act without applause. That's the mark of someone dangerous, not because they're loud, but because they're unshaken. Asterisk, asterisk. Silence isn't weakness, it's warfare. Asterisk, asterisk. Every moment you choose silence over reaction, you gain control. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you keep power. Every time you withhold emotion, you preserve energy. That's how the strong rise. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. The loud burn fast. The silent burn forever. Noise is temporary. Discipline is eternal. You don't need to prove your worth in conversation. You prove it in execution. Stop explaining. Stop defending. Stop reacting. Just move. Let your silence make them wonder. Let your results make them understand. Because silence is not retreat, it's restraint. Most people can't hear truth because they're drowning in sound. Constant music, constant scrolling, constant stimulation. They mistake motion for progress. But motion without meaning is noise. It's chaos disguised as activity. Stillness, on the other hand, is intentional. Stillness is where strength gathers. Stillness is where focus sharpens. Stillness is where clarity speaks. When you sit in silence, your mind resets. When you strip away the noise, you finally see what matters. That's where strategy is born. That's where control is reborn. You have to train yourself to be calm when others are loud, to listen when others yell, to think when others react, because in chaos, the quiet mind wins. Silence gives you a tactical advantage. While others waste energy reacting, you conserve energy observing. While they talk, you plan. While they panic, you move. That's why silence wins wars. It's not about volume, it's about control. It's not about emotion, it's about execution. It's not about being seen, it's about being unstoppable. Asterisk, asterisk. Silence isn't weakness, it's warfare. Asterisk, asterisk. Think of silence as a weapon, not a void. When you're silent, people project their assumptions onto you. They reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. That's leverage. When you're silent, people underestimate you. They relax. And that's when you strike strategically, efficiently, decisively. That's the power of quiet dominance. Because the one who speaks least controls the room. The one who listens most controls the outcome. The one who moves last controls the result. You don't need noise to be heard. You don't need validation to be valuable. You just need silence and strategy. Let's make it real. Start building daily silence into your life. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. No phone, no music, no input, just stillness. It will feel uncomfortable at first, that's the withdrawal from distraction. But sit with it, breathe, listen, because underneath the noise, there's truth. And that truth is waiting to lead you. Stillness is not laziness, it's mastery. Stillness is the pause before precision, the calm before the strike, the silence before the symphony. That's how the greats operate, not in noise, but in knowing. Silence also builds emotional control. When you stop reacting immediately, you start responding intelligently. When you stop explaining everything, you start observing everything. When you stop talking about your plans, you start executing them. That's how you regain power, by refusing to waste words. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to justify your discipline. The loud seek validation. The silent seek victory. And victory is always quiet until it's undeniable. Here's the paradox. Silence looks weak to the emotional, but terrifying to the powerful. Because silence means you can't be read. You can't be manipulated. You can't be moved. And that's why silence is warfare. It's not the weapon they expect. It's the one that breaks them without a single word. When you master silence, you master presence. When you master presence, you master power. That's why the loud demand attention, but the silent command it. Asterisk, asterisk. Silence isn't weakness, it's warfare. Asterisk, asterisk. You have a choice. You can be loud like the world, or calm like the few who run it. You can chase attention or control it. You can drown in noise or rise in stillness. Power lives in quiet. Peace lives in silence. Focus lives in stillness. You don't need to be louder to be stronger. You need to be quieter to be sharper. The world gets louder every day, but the loudest sound in the room should be your discipline. You've learned that silence is not surrender, it's strength. You've learned that stillness is not weakness, it's power. You've learned that in a world full of noise, quiet minds lead. You've mastered emotional silence. Now, it's time to step into the final evolution of the unbreakable mind, where control, clarity, and strength merge into unstoppable momentum. When emotions can't move you, nothing can stop you. That's the final stage. That's the transformation this entire journey was building toward. Because the moment your mind becomes unbreakable, your life becomes unstoppable. The world can attack your plans, your reputation, your body. But if it can't shake your mind, you still win. Always. An unbreakable mind doesn't need motivation. It doesn't need reassurance. It doesn't even need certainty. It moves. It adapts. It endures. And that's what this has all been about. Mastering control, mastering focus, mastering emotion. Because the mind trained in control becomes immune to manipulation, fear, and doubt. That's the key. You've spent your life being pulled by pressure, by people, by emotion. But now you stand still. You move when you choose, not when you're triggered. That's power. That's mastery. The average person breaks at the first sign of stress. They panic when plans fail. They collapse when criticized. But not you. Because you've built something they don't understand. Asterisk, asterisk. Mental armor. Asterisk, asterisk. You've learned to stay calm when chaos hits. You've learned to focus when emotion screams. You've learned to act when fear whispers. And that's why you'll always rise above the rest. Feel nothing. Fear nothing. Fail at nothing. Here's the truth. Success is not about intelligence. It's about endurance. The strongest mind wins, not the smartest, not the loudest, not the most talented. The strong mind is the one that keeps moving forward when every part of it wants to stop. The one that doesn't need permission to keep going. The one that doesn't fold when comfort calls. That's what you've been training for. You've been training for the day the world throws everything at you and you keep walking. You've been training for the moment when fear rises and you stay still. You've been training to become someone who can't be broken. An unbreakable mind isn't born, it's built. It's built in pain. It's built in silence. It's built in the moments when no one's watching. It's built in the gym of discipline, in the classroom of struggle, in the fire of failure. Every challenge was a lesson. Every setback was a test. Every hardship was a rep-building mental muscle. That's why you can't resent pain. You can't curse difficulty. They made you this way. If you look back, you'll see it. Every storm shaped your strength. Pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Now you're ready. You've learned to detach. to feel nothing when emotion tries to control you, to stay clear when chaos surrounds you, to stay calm when the world loses itself. You've learned that control is freedom, that indifference is power, that silence is strength. And now you've reached the truth, the final truth. Asterisk, asterisk. No one can defeat a person who has mastered themselves. Asterisk, asterisk. You can take their money, you can take their position, you can take their comfort, but if they have discipline, focus, and control, they'll rebuild it all. That's what an unbreakable mind does. It doesn't just survive, it dominates. You have a choice every day. You can live like everyone else, emotional, reactive, easily broken, or you can live like the few, controlled, composed, unshakable. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. You've learned to live inside it. Most people chase validation. You've learned to ignore it. Most people panic when things fall apart. You've learned to rebuild in silence. That's the difference. That's why your life will move in a direction theirs never will. Because you don't depend on anything outside of you. You've become your own foundation. And a foundation like that can't collapse. Here's the ultimate paradox. When you stop needing control, you gain it. When you stop fearing emotion, you master it. When you stop resisting failure, you rise through it. That's what makes the mind unbreakable. Not perfection, but perspective. You understand now. Every challenge is data. Every loss is feedback. Every setback is direction. You don't take things personally anymore. You take them strategically. Because emotion clouds judgment, but focus creates dominance. You don't react to life anymore. You respond to it. That's the evolution of your mind, from reactive to proactive, from emotional to controlled, from human to unstoppable. You have to remind yourself daily. This world is designed to test your mind. It will throw temptation at you. It will pull your focus. It will try to make you doubt your worth, your path, your strength. That's the battle not against others, but against yourself. The weak mind blames. The strong mind adapts. The weak mind reacts. The strong mind recalibrates. The weak mind runs. The strong mind remains still. You have to choose which mind you operate from, the fragile or the forged. That choice decides your destiny. The unbreakable mind knows this. The world will always test you, but nothing external can break what's been built internally. They can't shake what's grounded in discipline. They can't confuse what's rooted in clarity. They can't defeat what's fueled by control. That's why mastery starts in the mind. That's why every empire begins in silence. When you control your thoughts, you control your actions. When you control your actions, you control your outcomes. When you control your outcomes, you control your life. That's the chain of command. And it all starts with you. Remember this mantra. Asterisk, asterisk. Feel nothing. Fear nothing. Fail at nothing. Asterisk, asterisk. Feel nothing because emotion clouds truth. Fear nothing because fear kills potential. Fail at nothing because every setback is just another step. Repeat it until it becomes your identity. Because that's what you are now, not fragile, not reactive, not emotional. You are calm. You are focused. You are dangerous. You don't need their approval. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their permission. You've outgrown all of it. Now, your mission is simple. Protect your focus. Guard your discipline. Preserve your control. Because everything you've built can only be lost if you give your attention back to the noise. The world will always test you, but that's fine. You were built for pressure. You were trained for chaos. You were forged in fire. You are no longer part of the emotional majority. You are part of the disciplined minority, the few who lead while others crumble. And from this moment on, you move with a different energy, a colder focus, a quieter strength, a deeper peace. That's what it means to have an unbreakable mind and to live an unstoppable life. You've reached the end of this journey, but it's not the end, it's the beginning. Because the world hasn't changed. You have. You've learned to detach. You've learned to discipline. You've learned to control. And now, no emotion, no fear, no doubt can move you. Asterisk, asterisk, you are the calm in the chaos. Asterisk, 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 you are the stillness in the storm. Asterisk, 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 you are the proof that control is power. Asterisk, asterisk, feel nothing, fear nothing, fail at nothing. Because when your mind is unbreakable, your life becomes unstoppable. Were born reactive, but you were meant to evolve. Every emotion that once controlled you was a test. Every distraction that pulled you off course was a teacher. And now you understand. Strength is silence, focus is freedom, and control is power. The weak react, the strong remain still. The weak seek comfort, the strong seek control. You are no longer a slave to impulse. You are no longer at war with your own mind. You are calm under chaos, focused under fire. You are unbreakable. So now, the challenge. Spend one day, just one, where nothing moves you. Not emotion, not opinion, not fear. Be still. Be focused. Be in control. Because once you master your emotions, you master your life.